5, 4, 3, 2, 1. CTS PC EP 45. 5 episodes away from episode 50.
Big episode.
Big.
Jace will be purchasing a cameo from Donald Trump.
Yeah. No,
To
not
commemorate.
he's coming to the podcast.
Yes.
No, we're not going to interview him. He's just going to watch us do it.
Yeah, he won't be on camera. You'll
Yeah.
get like occasional. He's just gonna be behind the camera. You'll get occasional ad libs.
Yeah.
Occasional ad libs, just in case. And I guess you guys won't be seeing any of the hand motions and stuff we're doing because this won't be on video.
Yeah.
But not sure why that is.
That's really weird.
Okay.
So this week, I think
It happened, Jace. It finally happened.
It finally happened. The moment
Would we
we've
call it
all been waiting for.
the downfall? Would you say?
The left, the far left, and the Republicans came together as one, like some sort of mitochondria joining together.
I don't know how long it's been since you've taken biology, but we'll glaze over that analogy.
Some
we can glaze over
mitochondrial
that.
cells coming together to rid New York
So many
of
problems.
this evil, of the most.
It's like Sauron in the Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
Not to get too
yeah.
CTS pop culture on you guys, but like the Eye of Sauron has fallen in New York. The lands of Middle Earth.
Cuomo has reached
the
his
Eye
last
of Cuomo.
day.
Oh my gosh. Finally. It seems like it took way too long for that to happen.
So let's talk about what happened. If you remember a while back, a bunch of allegations against the governor came out.
The governor.
Accusing him of sexual assault, workplace harassment, you name it, Henry. It was,
He ran the full gambit of things you really should not be doing
yeah,
in
gambit.
that department.
Gambit is a fine word.
Gambit? Gamut? Is it gamut? I don't know. Whatever.
That's a little too close to a swear word. Don't say that anymore. Okay, he ran the full gambit of misdeeds towards women in the workplace, and he denied it for the longest time.
He said,
He said the cancel culture mob was after him. Actually, his brother, Chris Cuomo.
Where
on a
does Chris work?
Only the biggest liberal news station in the U.S., CNN.
CNN?
Where else?
Really?
Where
and
else?
I'm sure he was super impartial and reported very fairly on this issue and all the many other issues with his big brother, Andrew Cuomo,
Oh,
right?
Henry, how wrong you are.
Really? I
Yes.
am color me shocked.
Well, I will get my crayons out because you are going to be shocked by this. He said on a recorded line, don't give in to the cancel culture mob and don't resign. That's what he said. And he made an apology live on CNN and said, I cannot report fairly on my big brother. I can be impartial about everything except for when it comes to family.
So why is he reporting? I'm going to be honest. Why are you on the primetime CNN show if, like, the governor of New York, right?
Yeah.
Governor of New York. That's a big deal.
So going on with that, he said, don't resign. He was actively giving advice and was on calls with Cuomo's lawyers, regarding the pending investigation.
Many lawyers.
His going forward on the timeline, investigation takes place. AG conducts a thorough investigation of all these claims. There's 11 claims in total. She comes out with a report that is damning.
Just all 11 claims are credible.
Yeah.
All 11. Bye-bye.
Damning.
Gone.
And, well, his own AG came out and said that he broke federal and state law and that although they were not going to prosecute him, which they could have.
Why? I'm confused on that one.
It's a confusing one, isn't it? It's because it's his own AG. That's why. But regardless, she said that he broke federal and state law, civil law. It was criminal. And suggested that he resign like everyone else. And it took him a while. You know that you heard the story of why he ended up resigning, right?
Because
Did you hear about that?
they came out that every single person in the state
Every
legislature,
single senator said they were going to vote to convict.
Every
Every single one.
That's difficult to do.
That's tough.
Because
I mean, even think about that. Even in can you imagine the U.S. Senate, every single person voting to convict? I don't know if that would ever happen because state politics are so different. But every single state senator voted to convict.
I don't think I've ever heard of an issue that you could get 70 people to agree on.
But Henry, this was very different because it was involving. What's the best word to describe him? A weirdo?
Yeah, that's probably the least harsh of the words I'd use to describe him.
Very well. We will save those words in our vocabulary for another time.
It's crazy. And it's for him to be so belligerent about it.
Oh, yeah.
Not it wasn't even, you'd think you would probably, if that stuff came out and he had access to what the allegations were, it wasn't like they were some secret charges that he'd never heard about before. Then for you to say, no, that never happened. And then to be caught on camera, half the allegations are there was one specific one that was on camera. The moment talked about in the allegation was on camera.
So if you remember at the beginning of this whole debacle, at the very beginning, Cuomo said that the whistleblower, he was criticizing the people who whistleblew to the media because he wanted it to be done internally and everyone to remain anonymous. Can you imagine?
That's a weird one.
That is Henry. Let's piece this out. Let's take our thinking caps and put them on and let's piece this one out. Why would the governor of New York want everything to come to him or his staff internally? Where do you think that would have gone? These 11 allegations, where do you think this would have, it would have been done by an independent commissioner or something along those lines.
It's so he can adjudicate it fairly, right?
Yeah. Just a quick adjudication for these 11 claims.
Allegations but it's probably a good thing that it runs completely through him, right? That makes total sense.
Yeah,
that's what
and his they're not allowed to leak it. He was criticizing them going to the media. He said you shouldn't have these. Part of his sort of argument was you're not credible because you leaked it. Imagine, Henry.
Is that even that's weird. Yeah, it just doesn't. And all of his all of his arguments were so weird. There was something about I'm not problematic. I'm Italian.
That's how
what?
That's so weird. The video. You saw the video,
yeah.
Right? Where he's just kissing a bunch of politicians, including Bill Clinton. Yeah. I could not think of a more ironic.
That's so
I could not think of a more ironic video to release.
How do you so I do the wrong thing all the time, not just these few times that I got called
look at
out
this. I'm Italian. That's how we communicate.
Stop doing this. We should stop doing that. That's pretty. The accent.
Oh,
that's probably
you're
not
gonna cut
great.
that out? It's fine. It's fine. We do accents for everybody. That's how he talks.
That's
he talks
true.
like an Italian. Who cares? And the Italians probably hate him too.
They should.
Yeah, they should.
Everyone should.
Yeah.
Not even just specifically Italians, just everyone. And not to toot our own horns, but we have been on the Cuomo hate train
for a long time.
I would say longer than most.
I would say longer than almost everyone.
I
think we had a general just disliking of him since even before the COVID stuff. We just didn't like the guy.
Yeah, I don't think I don't know if I remember hearing anybody disliking him, even when everyone was like, "Oh, he's standing up to Trump. How great is that?" We were sitting here in this exact podcast, this exact room, saying awful, he should be gone, probably criminally charged for the nursing home stuff.
The nursing home stuff, which is a whole another discussion. He murdered I don't want to say murdered. That's a little kind of weird. But he, I mean,
contributed
contributed to
to
the
the
death.
deaths of many people in New York with his COVID response.
So, besides the point, getting to the sort of final page of this Andrew Cuomo book of wonder and dreams, he resigned. He's gone after hearing that all these senators were going to vote to convict, and he is now under criminal investigation by the police department.
That's good. Nothing's going to happen. Do you think anything's going to happen?
No.
There's not a chance.
So that happened. That's real. That's a thing. I can't remember the lieutenant governor's name. It's a woman.
It's like here. It starts with an H, I think.
It's something like that. I don't know, but I don't know. We'll see how
Hurock,
she.
maybe?
We'll see how she does. Is
That's-
that thing still going? Is that still recording our voice?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on past the Cuomo debacle of 2021. I want to get your take on this. Let's get a quick hot take. Bill de Blasio came out and said faking a COVID vaccine card up to 7.5 years in prison. Thoughts? Thoughts?
That's
What do we think about that?
like. This seems like a lot.
It's like the charge is like faking a government document or something like that. 7.5 years.
Yeah, I mean, is that I don't know enough about like New York law to say. Is that what faking a government, like forging a government document, is
I think
that
it's
the
a
penalty
federal
it would carry?
crime. Yeah,
Is that the penalty it would carry normally?
I believe so. 7.5 years. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, but if that's the law already, like I think it would be weird if it was like for like most like federal documents it's like a 3 year, like 3 years for forging it.
But just think about, like,
specifically the COVID card.
Using using a fake ID, you ain't go to jail most of the time.
That's true. That's true. But is this one that like has anybody been charged under this?
No, I don't think so. At least I think I saw there's like a few people, but I don't think that's like a more of just your general thoughts on that comment in general.
Yeah, if it's in line with other punishments for similar things, I don't know if I'm where I have the bigger problem with it is if it becomes like if it's something that is specific to COVID vaccine cards.
I don't think you should get that much time for faking a government document in general.
But does anybody get that much time for faking a government document?
I don't
know.
One thing that's
Because
weird.
when you look at maximum sentences, it's like 99% of the time people don't get the maximum sentence.
Yeah.
So it's tricky to compare. You'd have to look at like average sentences.
You know what we haven't talked about yet?
What?
We never talked about Derek Chauvin's actual sentence. How much time he got.
I think we talked about it.
No, we talked about him getting guilty.
Wasn't it just the max that he could get?
No, it was more than the max. It was hold on.
How's that
stay
possible?
tuned.
How could it be more than the max?
So the lawyers for the state filed basically a document to the judge that said this is why we believe he should get more than the maximum sentence. And
Then what's the point of having a maximum sentence?
he
if
said
you
there was factors, like outstanding factors that were so terrible that it
But I just don't get that. Like, it's not a maximum sentence then, right? Like, why is a maximum sentence a thing if you can tag years onto it?
So he received 22.5 years. I think the max was like 15 or something, and he got 22.5. What do you think about that? What do you think about that sentence?
I think it's weird that you can tack stuff on a maximum sentence. Like, at the time, I know obviously, like, stuff can happen while you're serving that they can add time on, but that seems like a double jeopardy law, right?
It's weird, huh?
Like, for you to, it's basically you getting charged twice for the same crime.
Well, it's weird to give I think judges should have, like, first of all, I actually don't believe in minimum sentencing laws. I think judges should have complete authority over how long a person is sentenced. Do you agree or do you disagree with that? Do you agree with minimum sentencing laws?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on. I think all except for like the worst stuff should probably not have minimum sentencing laws.
And see, I would even say the worst stuff. I don't know. That's a longer conversation. We've had that conversation in another podcast, so I'll kind of leave that. But yeah, 22 and a half years. If I'm a judge, I'd probably give him 14, 13.
I can't. I won't. I'm not making a decision on that.
Why?
I can't. Because I can't. I don't like. I don't know. I can't make a decision on that.
I don't know. Some people were saying like he should die in prison. I'm like, I don't know. I don't really agree with that. I think that there's a lot of alternative routes to rehabilitation that don't include sending someone to prison for the rest of their life, because I think that's kind of weird. And Henry has left the room. So although I have the freedom to talk about whatever it is I want to talk about, we'll stay on this topic because I actually have some really good takes here. So I think that I agree with Henry. I don't think a judge should have the ability to go over a maximum sentence. That seems really weird to me. And it's also sort of, I don't know, with Derek Chauvin, it's really kind of weird because he had an incident before that the federal government is charging him for that involved another incident while he was a police officer that, was not brought up, I guess, until this trial took place, until the murder of George Floyd. That stuff's really weird, right? Because if you look at this as sort of an isolated incident, you could make the case that like this was a bad decision. It was this is a decision that will affect him for the rest of his life. Does he deserve to die in prison because of this, one day of a several thousand day life? I don't know. That's for someone else to decide. I kind of agree with Henry there. I don't think I shouldn't say anyone. I don't think in a lot of cases people should just die in prison. But I think if you show a track record of, you're doing this again and again and again and again and you never stop, that's where it gets kind of weird to me. I don't really know about all of that.
But yeah, it depends on the crime, right? Because we probably shouldn't give people tons of extra chances on like super serious crimes.
I don't know. I think that this is why I want to give judges the discretion, right? Because everyone has a different story. Everyone experiences different circumstance, if you will. So I don't really know.
But how many, like, would you agree that if you're like a repeat offender for
how many
murder,
times for murder? Oh, I think by the second murder you're going away for the rest of your life.
That's probably good.
Yeah.
There's probably an argument.
If you do it more than once, I mean, that's really weird. That's like, okay, dude.
It's more than.
But
come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, come on.
You can't
but
be doing
I
that.
also think that the current criminal justice system does not work and it does not rehabilitate people. So it's like, although they may commit a serious crime again, it's like, well, we didn't do anything to help them, right? Which I think is really weird. I don't know. I'm a pretty big proponent of criminal justice reform, and I think that's I don't know. I think it's kind of weird how it's currently structured. They did away with for-profit prisons. They're illegal now.
Really?
Biden administration shut every single one down.
Like effective immediately?
I actually
are they phasing them out?
I'm sure they're phasing them out, right? Because they got to put them somewhere. But what's weird about for-profit prisons, I don't know if you know this, but there's some states that prisoners were choosing to go to for-profit prisons, and they were being paid. You could pay for additional amenities like a bigger bed, extra pillows, stuff like that. What do you think about that? That's like capitalism.
It's just
like
a hotel.
That's like capitalism to the next level. That's like next level capitalism. Crazy, gone sicko mode. Oh my gosh, someone stop this level of capitalism. Weird.
That's bizarre. I'd never heard
The
of
whole
that.
dude, you gotta look into the for-profit prison system.
It's gone now.
Absolutely bonkers, Denko mode, craziness. You'll never be the same. But regardless, Derek Chauvin got over the maximum sentence. Kind of weird.
Yeah. Let's see what else happened.
Infrastructure bill passed.
Infrastructure bill. I don't I don't know. That one's it's so big, right? It's like 1,000-page document, and
So
I don't know enough.
There's a really funny moment after that bill was passed when Senator Josh Hawley, who's a Republican, stood up and he was advocating for additional funds to go towards police departments.
Mm-hmm.
And he must not. And if you remember, I'm sure you don't because I actually didn't know this, but the Democrats tried to pass a big police budget bill to like 100,000 more officers on the streets. The Democrats tried to pass it.
When? Like recent?
I don't know about pretty recent. I'm not sure when it was, but pretty much I think all of the Democrats signed it, or almost all of them, and none of the Republicans signed it. So after Josh Hawley came up and gave this big speech, Senator Dick Durbin stood up and he's like, I am so happy you agree with this bill that the Democrats made. I will walk into your office and I'll have you sign on it. We are so happy to have you and have you advocating for this bill. And I mean, really, it's a pretty good bill. I don't know about a good bill. It's because the Democrats say like we should police reform. Some of them say defund the police.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
It seems like there's a lot of hypocrites on both sides. Like I saw something about like some new policing rules in Washington D.C. that like came from the budget cuts, where like stuff like won't respond, like the police won't respond to like, and I probably shouldn't be commenting super deeply on it, but
Why?
because I don't like, I just saw like one or two things about it. I didn't like research it super well, but it was like the extent was just like most theft police wouldn't respond to. And like there was some other weird stuff like domestic violence stuff that they wouldn't respond to.
The real police, right? I think it's like a peace
The real
officer
police, yeah,
or a social worker or something like that.
And people were like in the comments were like, this isn't what we meant by defund the police and stuff. And it's
so
like,
what did you mean?
I don't understand. I don't get it. Like what's defunding the police then? Like I don't get that message. I understand it. I think there should be criminal justice reform. I think there should be like policing reform. But like it seems like when exactly what you said happens and then you complain about it, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well, what's weird is like they say defund the police, but I'm so confused what they think that'll do. What if you just take 50 million from, or 5 million from every police department? It's like, what does that do? Like less cop cars?
Yeah,
you can't hire as many new recruits that could potentially have different views to some of these older guys that have been in the corrupt system for so long.
Like training, right? Like training costs money. Like if you're taking money away for that, and it's right. Like if you think about it from a different, like in a different context, like if a sports team is like bad, right? What's going to help it? Taking away money or giving them money to build a new training facility, buy better coaches?
So I don't believe in giving them more money because I think they have plenty of money. But I also don't think taking away money really does anything. I just think that's kind of weird. I don't really like that.
Yeah, but in the sense that I guess
giving
more money is the equivalent of not taking away money. That counts as giving money.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. What about all the crazy climate stuff going on right now?
In Utah or in general?
Well, in general, but we're in Utah, and we were a week ago probably, we had the worst air on the planet because of wildfires from California.
It's pretty bad. It was weird because you walk outside and you could smell it and taste it.
Yeah, I was so confused because I walked outside, I'd been inside all day, and then I walked outside and I was like, that's what's on fire close by? Because it was so bad that it didn't seem like we've had smoke and stuff from California wildfires come over here before. It was so bad that I thought it was a fire close by because I could smell it. I've never had that before.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that. That was really weird.
And I don't get what, because up to this point, it seemed like the wildfires this year hadn't been as bad as in some years past.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then for all of a sudden that to be it to be so serious, it was to the point where my eyes were irritated like all day. Like if I was outside, it was like super irritated eyes, like breathing was bad. A lot of like sports events in the area got canceled because of it.
Yeah, it's weird. You know a lot more about climate stuff than I do. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed when it comes to that stuff. So usually when it comes to climate change or like wildfires or stuff, I usually stay pretty neutral. But climate change is real.
Like pro or against fires?
I'm pro fire. Pro wildfire.
I really support the wildfires.
Yeah, we have
like, what does that mean?
we have what's the guy, the Smokey Bear? Is that his
Smokey the
name?
Bear. It's like anti-Smokey the
Yeah,
Bear.
propaganda is what we share.
Anti-Smokey propaganda. It's like oh my gosh.
But yeah, it's pretty weird stuff. I don't really know what to think about it other than that was insane. You walk outside and it didn't even smell like a fire though, kind of. It smelled like almost like burning, but like not quite a fire. It was like burning.
It smelled like an old campfire to me.
Really?
Like
to me, it smelled like like someone was burning something that shouldn't have been burnt. Like they were burning plastic or something.
Yeah, I could see that. To be honest, it was so weird. Like it was dark like an hour earlier than it normally would be because it was so like the sky was so filled with smoke and you like couldn't see like very far into the distance, like landmarks that usually you could see super easily in the area, just invisible.
So we'll end the podcast on this, but why do people refuse to get the vaccine?
I think there's a lot of reasons. I also think
But like there's so much science, and like even when you show them the science, it's still they just refuse to. I don't understand.
yeah, it is weird.
What is that?
I think there's probably an aspect of like people are kind of insulated to what's happening, like that like they don't, or like they got COVID and it wasn't that bad, or they know somebody who got COVID and it wasn't that bad, and it just kind of reinforces that idea that people have about like, oh well, like Jerry down the street, he got COVID and he was like totally fine the next day, like he didn't even have any symptoms. And so I think that contributes to people being like kind of that fear of that stuff. I don't get it.
You want to hear a crazy stat? In Florida the other day, 50% of the hospitalizations were people between the ages of 25 and 45. 50%.
But 99% are unvaccinated.
Yep.
That seems like the best reason to.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, like, look, think what you want about the vaccine. Like, a lot of people have like a lot of Republicans especially have a really high regard for like doctors or nurses or healthcare, and it's like, dude, get the vaccine if for no other reason to like slow down hospitalizations. Like they're literally burdening the hospital system so much that they're going to have to purchase new beds again.
Yeah.
They're requesting more beds from the federal government because of this.
It's crazy. I don't get it. I don't know if I can give you a good answer on why people don't. I
just
don't understand it.
I like can't comprehend. And the people like that don't want to get vaccinated can't cite like any science. Like and not only that, but they don't have the ability. Like neither of us really have the ability to read a medical journal and with great detail and be like, oh, I understand exactly what this ingredient is and exactly what this does. Neither of us can do that, but we trust it because it's research backed and you can see all the sources and there's these different government agencies backing it. But unvaccinated people just say it's a lie. They just say it's all a big lie. Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah.
That is so bizarre, Henry. That's so incomprehensible to me. And I'm not even like a vaccine propaganda artist where I'm like spewing get the vaccine and I can't stand people who don't get it.
Like the Olivia Rodrigo PSA from the White House.
Like I would never do something
Rodrigo,
but it just seems
about
it just seems so weird to me. It's like a different universe to these people.
I don't get it.
Anyways,
I get it.
Just a quick rant to end the podcast. Well, we'll wrap this one up. This is